What's happening, YouTube? Jonathan Pariente, The Education 10 here, coming at you guys with another video. I want to ask you guys to please continue to check and subscribe to my channel for more YouTube videos. And let's get right into it. Week 6 is now about to begin in the NFL, and we're coming with some pretty exciting games that will be taking place this week, including a 9:30 in the morning game in London, England, which will be very enticing. But first, let's recap the Thursday night game that took place earlier this week. The New England Patriots took on the New York Giants. It was in Gillette Stadium, and the Giants early on held on with New England. They hung with them, but then New England pretty much just took over for the rest of the game. Tom Brady ran in 2 touchdowns. Sony Michel had a very huge game. Edelman had a big game. And New England routed the Giants 35-14, remaining undefeated. Daniel Jones threw 3 interceptions, which was very costly. And for a Giants team that doesn't have a good defense to begin with, you can't make these mistakes against the good teams, particularly New England. So the Giants dropped to 2-4 on the year, and it will be back to the drawing boards for them as we get into next week. So we're going to have some very interesting matchups here now as we continue to go around the entire landscape of the NFL for Week 6. I mentioned the very first game that's going to be kicking things off, and that's the game in London, England. The Carolina Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that will be... It's very good that the NFL does this, to really get games out there out of the country. London's been a very good host for the games, and I think it's been a very nice feature to continue to showcase games in London and just continue to get to spread the word about the game, spread about the baseball. Did it this year, having the series in London with the first ever one, and will continue next year. So this is a good thing to see for the game that really needs to be taken notice of. So now let's dive into our picks for this week, and let's go into, well, the very first game. It's the game in London, England. Carolina Panthers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, if you're a Buccaneers fan, well, you're not happy how you lost last week. Tough loss to the New Orleans Saints. Buccaneers gave it everything they had. I'll give them a lot of credit. But when you go into New Orleans, you better be bringing your A game, even when it's Teddy Bridgewater, not Drew Brees. The Saints are just too fundamentally sound a football team, and anytime you fall behind on them, you're going to lose the game. Carolina, of course, was coming off Carolina came off a very good win against Jacksonville. It was a close game, but Christian McCaffrey pretty much has done it all year, taken over and just become a dual threat running and catching the ball. So with that being said, looking at this matchup, it's still going to be Kyle Allen who will get the start against Jameis Winston. So Cam Newton right now, since he's been out, I think it's probably been a good blessing for Carolina, because Allen's just been able to lead this offense like nothing, like no one's business. Now this game though will be at Raymond James Stadium. It's in Tampa Bay, and I expect Tampa Bay will come out ready. I think Tampa Bay is going to really want to avenge that loss last week, and I predict that will happen. Close game, but Tampa Bay is going to win this game 30-23. I think that's a very fair score for them. So that'll be the first upset of the game of the day at London, England. Next game, Cincinnati, Baltimore at M&T Bank Stadium. Well, Baltimore, came off a very good win. It was not an easy win, but they held off the Steelers in overtime. The Bengals have just been flat out awful. They're 0-5 on the year, and this is at M&T Bank Stadium. Knowing the Ravens, they want to lay up hurting on the Cincinnati Bengals. And once again, the Bengals will be saying, "Who dey?" They're 0-6. That's what's going to happen to them. The Ravens are going to win this game pretty soundly, 25-10. Lamar Jackson will run in a touchdown, throw for 2, and that's going to be all the Ravens are going to need to put away a very, very weak Bengals team, at least as far as I draw it up. Keeping it moving. Seattle and Cleveland. Well, this will be in Cleveland, and the Browns were coming off one of their worst performances of the year. They flat out got killed. Let's just be very fair and reasonable with everybody in the NFL audience. The Rams got simply killed. When you lose to the Niners 31-3 and you allow Jimmy Garoppolo to pick your whole defense apart, and Baker Mayfield played one of his worst games of his NFL career, completing just 8 passes out of 22 for 100 yards. Tells you a lot of things, and there's already been a lot of alarms going off. Is Baker Mayfield the actual guy for this Browns team? Are we seeing a regression from him less than a year after he was one of the next best things since sliced bread? Well, even though Seattle is going to be the road team in this game, I do not see Cleveland matching up with Russell Wilson. The Seahawks just can pick apart any defense you throw at them. Russell Wilson has the amazing ability to extend plays, and he has too many weapons that he can just get the ball to. You have Will Disley, who's emerging as a great tight end. Chris Carson can run the ball out of the backfield. You have DK Metcalf for deep threats. You just have a lot of weapons that Russell Wilson can get the ball to. And don't count out the Seattle defense. Even though it's not the Legion of Boom anymore, they still got a punishing defense. With Jadeveon Clowney being a nice addition for that defense, and just everything else you have leading the way, I do not count out the Seahawks in any way, shape, or form, even though the game's in Cleveland. So I predict this will be another romp. I think Seattle is going to roll into Cleveland and destroy the Browns once again. Seattle will put up 33 points. Browns will score 14. 33-14, Seattle wins. On to our next game, New Orleans and Jacksonville in Florida. New Orleans continuing to just really blow everybody away, and Teddy Bridgewater, he has stepped in so tremendously in that role of starting quarterback to fill the shoes of a legendary one in Drew Brees. And I think Bridgewater now, to finally see him back and playing the way he did before he got hurt, this is a very encouraging sign for the NFL to see this guy back to where he was. And playing on a team like the Saints, where you have so many playmakers and you can give the ball to pretty much anyone, I think the Saints are going to continue that going, as I'm sorry, but the stash and Gardner Minshew is not going to be able to hold off the mighty offense of the New Orleans Saints. I say the Saints will put up, the Jacksonville Jaguars will put up a good fight, but the Saints are just going to be a little too much for them. Final score, Saints will win 27-17, and Bridgewater will throw for 2 touchdowns. Okay, next, a great offensive battle. I think we're going to see a very nice, highly offensive game. Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. Patrick Mahomes against Deshaun Watson. And if there's anybody who will be excited for this matchup, it's going to be me. I think to see what the Texans did last week, putting up 53 points against the Falcons. And then for the Chiefs, though, they came off a bad loss to the Colts in Arrowhead, which is something they rarely do, is play bad in their home turf. Mahomes got beat up. He was hurt after that game. You have to wonder how healthy Mahomes is going to be. But I don't expect the Chiefs to blink twice. I think they will. This is going to be a fight, though. The Chiefs are not going to have an easy battle going up against the Texans. This can really go either way, but I think the Chiefs have a little more firepower, and with Tyreek Hill coming back, I think the Chiefs are going to just have this much of an advantage over the mighty Texans. And I say the Chiefs will win this game, close game, 35-33 will come down to a Harrison Butker field goal to win it. Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson will throw for 3 touchdowns each. I expect nothing but a great game out of both of them. Moving on to our next game. Well, it's probably one of the worst matchups we have on the whole NFL slate. A battle of 2 winless teams. So somebody in that game is going to have a win by the end of today, but by the end of tomorrow? Who will it be? Well, it's the Redskins and the Dolphins. Need I need to say who's winning this game? Not that I really care. It's going to be Case Keenum against Josh Rosen. 2 very bad quarterbacks. I won't even be surprised if this game is very low scoring. I'm just going to go out on a dime here, and I'm going to say the Dolphins win because they're at home. Dolphins will win this game 13-7. And that's being nice. Next game, Philadelphia, Minnesota. The Eagles at the Vikings. The Vikings came off with a very nice statement win last week. The Eagles blew away the Jets. I mean, the Jets have just been bad. I don't care how you slice it. But a lot of rift is still going on about Kirk Cousins, and again, a guy that chokes in big games. Yeah, he won a good game last week, but you're playing Carson Wentz. The Eagles have a very high-powered offense when he's playing, and even though the game's in Minnesota, I just do not see Kirk Cousins performing in a game like this, and I think the Eagles want to make a statement of their very own, and I think they'll go into Minnesota and they'll win this game. Close game, but it'll be 28-24. Come down to a big touchdown late by the Eagles. Next game, the 4 o'clock games to kick things off. Atlanta and Arizona in Arizona. And for the Falcons, they've just been running into very hard luck. They have just not played good defense. Matt Ryan has not been Matty Ice. And, Kyler Murray was coming off a very nice win. Took down the Bengals. The kid looks good. I think the Cardinals have a good edge here, but again, though, Atlanta is going to be desperate for a win, and I think, again, this kid is still going through a little bit of learning curves and through a little of a bit of a still have to go through the ropes a little bit. I think Atlanta should find a way to win this game. I think Atlanta will put up about 25 points. It'll be enough. I think they will hold the Cardinals to 17 points. So 25-17 in favor of Atlanta on the road winning this game. On to a very nice NFC West matchup. I think this will be another very nice game. Big implications. Niners, Rams, both of whom are undefeated. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Very, very bad mistake. The Niners are still undefeated. They're 4-0. The Rams are 3-2, and this is going to be a very interesting match. It's in LA. The Niners have been blowing away pretty much everybody they've played. They have not allowed a rushing touchdown this year, which is pretty scary. And when you're a team like this that has Bosa in the backfield, you have Garoppolo healthy, you have Breda running the football, and you just have everything working if you're the Niners, you just love the way they're playing early. But this is the Rams. Sean McVay, very creative mind, and, the Rams had to make a very important statement when they played they had to make a very good statement when they played last week. And, did they play their very best game? Well, not quite. The Seahawks beat them at their place in CenturyLink Field. It really just came because Zurlin couldn't kick field goals. That was really the only difference. But the Rams' defense got really chewed up by Russell Wilson. And I worry about them going into this matchup with Garoppolo. But I think the Rams will do enough. But the big problem here is they may not have Todd Gurley. He's doubtful. I probably don't think he plays. If Gurley doesn't play, the Rams are in big trouble. I do not think the Rams are going to have enough to match the Niners. And particularly because they can't run the ball in. The Niners don't give up rushing touchdowns. So if you're forcing Jared Goff to have to throw the football a lot, you're playing right into the hands of the Niners. I think Garoppolo and the Niners will take this game pretty easy. Close game, but I think it'll be just too much for the Rams. The Niners will win this game 30-20. Garoppolo will throw for about 250, will throw for 2 touchdowns. I think it's fair enough. Next game, Tennessee and Denver. Well, for both teams, it's been an interesting ride for both of them right now. The Broncos finally had to get a win last week. They did. The Titans have been very kind of hit or miss. You don't really know what you're getting out of them. This game is going to be in Denver, so this is a very good turf for the Broncos to win. And Mariota, when is he going to break out as a quarterback that could carry a team? You just have not seen it in the Titans this year. And yes, I know the Broncos are 1-4, but Flacco's a good veteran, and he can really win big games when he has to. So I predict Denver's going to win this game pretty easy. I think Denver will put up about 28 points. It'll be enough. And Titans will be held to about 16. So 28-16, Flacco will make a couple of big throws, and that'll be the end of that. Okay, on to our next game. Dallas, New York Jets, 4 o'clock game. It's in the Meadowlands. The Jets are finally going to get back Sam Darnold, who has been out for the last 4 weeks with mono. But really, as Bart Scott said once when the Jets won their championship game, they couldn't stop a nosebleed when they beat up the Patriots. But the Jets' offensive line can't stop a nosebleed. And I worry Sam Darnold's going to be running for his life because that O-line can't block. And the Jets' offense has just been terrible. They don't move the ball. They keep running the ball with Bell. They don't do any creative plays. And Adam Gase has had to sit there with an eggshell on his face every single week. So you're playing Dak Prescott. The Cowboys are going to make a statement. They came up a little short against the Packers last week, and I don't see that happening a second time. I think the Cowboys will go off on the Jets as the Eagles did. It will be 31-17. I think the Jets will finally put up a little fight here, but it will not be enough. On to our Sunday night game. It's Pittsburgh and the Chargers in Qualcomm. Phillip Rivers against, well, we don't know if Mason Rudolph's even going to be cleared. He has a concussion. I would hope he should play, but, right now the Steelers just have, again, they're going through a whole learning curve. Without Antonio Brown, without Le'Veon Bell, their offense just is not the same. So, and with Mike Tomlin possibly, who knows when he might be out of Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be soon. The Steelers are 1-4. If with the Chargers, Phillip Rivers is going to be playing with his best. Melvin Gordon is back. So I think the Chargers should be able to win this game in relatively convincing fashion. Chargers will win this game 31-19. Phillip Rivers will throw for about 290 yards. Definitely avenging a pretty terrible performance that he had last week with Denver. Rivers just was not himself in that game, and I don't expect to see a veteran like him do that again. And finally, last but not least, the Monday Night Football game, Detroit and Green Bay at Lambeau. The Lions have played pretty good. They're 2-1-1. But again, the Green Bay Packers have just been so powerful. They're 4-1 on the year. And Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay, they almost never lose at Lambeau. It's a cold tundra. It's probably going to be frigid up there this weekend if I have to actually pull up the weather. Let me actually take a look. I'm a little fascinated how, particularly because a big snowstorm ravaged the Midwest. So, all right, Green Bay, it's going to be a very modest 43 degrees. So, definitely going to be a cold one up at the tundra of Lambeau. And the Lions will put up a good fight, but Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I think Green Bay is going to continue the role they're on. Packers are going to win this game. Good fight, but the Packers are going to put up, I think, roughly about 35 points. The Lions will put up about 24. Aaron Rodgers will throw for about 300-plus yards, throw for 3 touchdowns. The Packers will go to 5-1 as they will wallop the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. So those are our scores, ladies and gentlemen, for Week 6 of the NFL, and it should be a very, very interesting week, as now we get towards almost the halfway point of the year. Who is the team that really you have to look out for now with the season moving on? We'll find out all that and more. Jonathan Pariente, The Education 10, saying bye for now.